Hello, everybody. I'll just give it a few minutes as normal. Well, not a few minutes, we'll give it a minute and let our attendees get joined. Hope you're all having a good day so far. If you're returning to this masterclass series, thanks very much and good to see you here again. Give it a little bit longer as I can see the attendee list bumping up, so we'll let everybody get logged in. Okay, I think I will get started. First of all, hello everyone. Welcome to the third and final session of ISC Research's 2023 Masterclass series. If you're new here, my name is Kim Lynch and I'm Business Development Manager at ISC Research. In my first two masterclasses of this series, I talked about building relationships with international schools, and then we went on to explore some of the challenges which the schools face. Today's final masterclass of our series is going to highlight some of the current growth insights, market trends and emerging opportunities within the international schools market, and this one is going to conclude this year's series. This masterclass is aimed to support your future planning, growth strategy and business development. So I'll move my slide along. First of all, then, a quick introduction. So for those of you that have just joined us, ISC Research has been gathering data and intelligence on the international schools market now for over 25 years. We track the market closely for shifts, challenges, good practice, new development, and emerging opportunities. We process close to 300,000 data points every year, and we spend 4,500 hours on verification to ensure that we and you can trust in the data. And all of this takes a lot of time, of course, so we don't just use AI to collect publicly accessible data. We collect our data directly from the schools. Our field research team is dedicated to interviewing and talking with a breadth of international school leaders to gather reliable qualitative data. And we have a data verification team that checks every piece of data before it's analysed. All of our data is live, so we're constantly adding to it. And the data that you'll see in my slides today, it's all going to be based on a data point of the 1st of July, 2023. For almost 30 years, since 1994, using our data, we've guided schools with their growth plans, informed investors on new school development, helped universities to engage with international schools, and of course advised education suppliers and other partners that are supporting the market. ISC Research supplies an online data platform, in-depth reports and data sets, and expertise on the market, in addition to specialist areas of practice within international schools. You can follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, or Facebook to ensure that you're up to date with all of our news and resources as they become available. First of all, for the purposes of data collection and analysis, ISC Research identifies international schools as fee-paying schools that are teaching wholly or partly in English in countries where English is predominantly not the first language. They can be teaching any curriculum to students from kindergarten through to grade 12. And then in countries where English is an official language, the school must teach a curriculum that's not of the host nation if we're going to include it within our database. Most data and intelligence supplied by ISC Research is collected directly from senior leaders at international schools, and this data and intelligence gathering is conducted year-round by our field-based research consultants and supported by our desk-based researchers. We also use trusted local sources, market experts, and government bodies to acquire reliable market intelligence. The raw data and intelligence is then verified and analysed to produce the most reputable, current, comprehensive research on the international schools sector. And because we have been doing this now for almost 30 years, ISC Research is able to produce valuable market trends and projections. Our data ranges from school location and ownership, age phases, student enrolment, capacity, student nationality, fees at the schools, and contact details of staff across various functions and seniority levels, staff salaries and benefits, nationalities, facilities, quality assurances, examinations and curriculum, and also school supply. We also gather demographic and socioeconomic statistics for key regions, countries, and some cities, including population and growth rate, which impact the demand and prospective demand for school places. If you joined us for the first two masterclasses in this series, you'll know that I've generally tended to start each one with a quick poll. Today's session, we'll talk about the market trends across the K-12 international schools around the world. So I'd just like to take a quick poll to find out which geographies, you're also including in your business expansion plans. You should see the question on your screen. So if you can choose your answer, and then we'll see, I'll just take a quick look at the results, which will help us to inform the presentation. So I'll give that a second to show me some results. So it may be a particular geography that you're targeting, or you may already be doing that or thinking about it. Quite a few of you actually have answered all of the above, so that's interesting. Then we'll try and touch on all of these. Middle East and Far East seem to be quite popular as well as the two highest choices. So thanks very much for taking the time to answer that for me. So moving on, we're going to start by looking at market growth. Let me just get rid of this poll out of the way and try and move my slides along. This has done this to me in every masterclass and paused there. Here we go. Okay, market growth. So here you can see the world's international schools and how the world's international schools market has grown in the last 5 years. So this includes the two very challenging years impacted by COVID-19. The number of schools has increased from 12,123 to 13,614, which is a 12% growth of school numbers. The number of students now stands at 6.7 million, and tuition fee income has grown by 18% over the past 5 years to $58.4 billion US. Throughout the extensive challenges of the pandemic, including expatriate repatriation, salary challenges for families, and restricted access to school facilities and extracurricular provision, the international schools market as a whole maintained its enrolments and in some cases gained as a result of student transition from local public and private schooling to access better quality online learning. As a result, investment and development within the international schools market continues. Research carried out in 2020 by ISC Research into past global crises, including the 2008 global financial crash and the 2014 oil and gas crisis, demonstrated that the international schools market recovers surprisingly quickly from serious setbacks, as it has demonstrated since the COVID-19 pandemic too. As of July 2023, ISC Research was aware of 313 future schools under construction and in planning. Let's look at this on a regional level now. So in terms of the schools, Asia dominates the international schools market with 57% of all international schools. That's a total of 7,774 international schools as of July this year. And those schools are teaching a total of 4.3 million students aged between 3 and 18. The presence of the international schools is shared evenly between East Asia, Southeast Asia, Western Asia, and Southern Asia. The top 5 leading countries in the world for schools are all in Asia: China, India, UAE, Pakistan, and Indonesia. A UK curriculum is the most popular foreign curriculum offered by international schools across Asia. The other thing to say is that international schools are no longer the domain of Western expatriates. Today, most students attending international schools are local children from the country in which the international school is actually located. Expatriates from all over, from all countries of the world, and many third culture children who do not associate with any single nationality or specific culture. Looking now at international school growth, I won't spend too long here, but just wanted to give a brief visual breakdown of that growth per region. So Western Asia is the biggest sub-region of all international schools. It has 2,076 schools, though Southeast Asia has seen largest growth, with a huge 19.5% in number of schools opening within the last 5 years, taking the total numbers there to 2,003. This is followed with 15% growth in Southern Europe, which is largely down to significant growth in Spain. This one looks slightly similar to the previous one, but we're looking now at the growth in student numbers rather than schools, and you'll note some differences. Over the last 5 years, even with those 2 years with the pandemic, enrolment within this market has increased 11% to 6.7 million students between the ages of 3 and 18 attending international schools around the world in July 23. Our research shows that the demand that continues for English medium international education, particularly in Asia. Our July 2023 data analysis shows that 64% of all current international school student enrolment is located within these schools in Asia, and the region hosts 57% of all the English medium international schools currently open in the world. In the last 10 years, Asia has seen a 59% increase in its number of schools and a 61% increase in student enrolment. The graph that you can see shows those enrolment totals, highlighting in red the growth during the last 5 years of the 7 leading sub-regions of the world for international schools, the top 4 being in Asia. So Western Asia continues to dominate international school student enrolment. Southern Asia, East Asia, and Southeast Asia are all experiencing strong growth in demand. Based on our continual field research and data analysis, ISC Research believes the sub-regions likely to see the most notable growth of international schools and student enrolment in the near future will be India, Japan, Vietnam, Singapore, and Cambodia, along with Saudi Arabia and the UAE, and also to a lesser degree, some growth across Europe. Most new international schools founded since July 2021 are based in the following countries. Now, these represent 41% of all international schools opened in the time range. In the UAE, it is 65 schools, China 47, Vietnam 33, Japan 20, and India 25. And just to talk a little around this, so the UAE and China have been key markets for many years and remain important. Vietnam emerged a few years ago and its international school numbers have kept increasing ever since. So why are they key? The UAE has had a significant increase in the number of expatriates, notably Chinese, Russian and Ukrainian nationals, and also those from South and Southeastern Asian countries settling in the Gulf region. Dubai, Abu Dhabi and Sharjah are all going through significant urban development, which is expected to result in more international schools. Infrastructure in the UAE's city of Dubai, combined with a growing population, which is projected to almost double within 20 years, means more international schools are being developed. These are being located to support distinct community suburbs that are emerging as the city continues to expand. Moving over to China, the continued stringent restrictions for host nation children to attend international schools in China is limiting enrolment across this country. However, the desire for such education is extremely high among young Chinese families, so some access whatever they can. 61% of schools opened are actually premium fee-paying schools there. Also, it's worth noting that only 30% of these new schools were founded in the last 12 months, which may suggest that there's a shift, perhaps due to regulation changes. But note, of course, that it remains a strong market in terms of future schools. In Vietnam, there's a significant growth in the desire for international school education from local families in several countries. Much of this demand is dependent on a fee point these parents can afford. Where there's affordability, there is high demand. A growth in demand from expatriate families who've also moved to the country, also the lower cost of living in some countries of Southeastern Asia, combined with their potential for extensive travel opportunities, make the country attractive to them. The emergence of high-profile foreign independent schools with premium-style campus buildings in several cities. Not only do these schools attract wealthy and educationally competitive parents, they also generate curiosity and raise awareness of all international education offerings in these cities to more people. Interestingly, Japan and India have also emerged as growing markets in the past 2 years. In Japan, the demand from host national families remains relatively low, but the country is attracting more expatriates, including families from China who are moving to access international education from an early age. 2 high-profile British independent school brands, Rugby School and Malvern College, are both opening in Japan this year, which will raise much greater awareness of British education in the country. For India, there's strong growth of international schools in the Tier 1 metro cities of Mumbai, Chennai, Delhi, Bangalore. These are the cities where international business is prevalent and international schools already established. There's also a rising demand from local families with the financial means and aspiration for international education. An increase in the number of expat families, professional families moving to India from East and Southeast Asian countries and from Western countries too is further contributing to the high demand. Let's look now at teaching and learning trends at the schools, and starting off with curricula. So how are curricular offerings changing throughout the international schools market? Well, there's been the most notable is that there is a move towards hybrid curricula. So the proportion of international school students who are following a UK curriculum only is declining. Our data shows that within the last 5 years, this has reduced from 6.2% of the total student market to 2.8%. It's the same for US-oriented curriculum and even the International Baccalaureate, as you can see. And this reflects a significant shift in how international schools are using curricula. Today, a growing number of international schools combine various strands of national and international curricula, such as some programs from the International Baccalaureate or from Cambridge International, some elements of or programs from the UK or US, plus some elements from the national curriculum of the country in which the school is located. These schools tend to be moving towards a more international orientation within their ethos and vision. Such hybrid curricular models are gaining most popularity throughout the market, and it's where we're seeing the most growth. As you can see from our data, 24.4% of all students attending international schools in 2018 were following some elements of a UK curriculum along with other curricula. This has increased to 26.9% by January 2023. A similar trend has occurred for US-oriented curriculum in combination with other curricula. When it comes down to curricular choice, our field research suggests that many international schools are now looking for curricula that allow flexibility, that enables the school to adapt them to the needs of their location, student community, the school vision and ethos. Popular options include curricula such as Cambridge International, EdXL, or the International Baccalaureate programs. Most international schools today that only follow a national curriculum of one country, such as the National Curriculum of England, make adaptations in order to take into consideration the country in which that school is located and the demographic of their students. There are also new forms of assessment being carried out in international schools now. For students aged 5 to 10, many schools said they introduced the use of audio and visual recordings to support formative assessment. Others mentioned digital platforms to present work and support assessment, including Google Classroom, Seesaw, RazKids, Kahoot, Flipgrid, IXL, Pear Deck, and Nearpod. Several schools conducted tests and interviews online for summative assessment. One school mentioned conducting online exhibitions. For diagnostic testing, several schools mentioned the application of digital recordings, both audio and visual, to establish baselines. Other schools said they introduced diagnostic writing assessments monitored through an online communication platform and online entry-level tests or examinations. Most international schools serving 11 to 15-year-olds adopted new forms of assessment for them during campus closures. 94% of schools responding to the research introduced these to formatively assess their students through online solutions. New formative assessment approaches introduced by many international schools, including digital recordings of students and study projects. So some of those suppliers to mention were Flipgrid, Screencastify, again, Pear Deck, Nearpod, Padlet, Kahoot, Khan Academy, IXL and Google Jamboard, all digital platforms cited by international schools that enabled them to achieve online formative assessment. Some international schools also adopted new forms of assessment for their 16 to 19-year-old students during these campus closures. New formative assessment methods that were introduced included, again, audio and visual digital recordings, also collaborative digital projects, problem-based learning, and online breakout rooms. And for 77% of these schools, they were introduced in order to summatively assess students through online solutions. new approaches for those summative assessments. So students computerized adaptive tests such as map tests, evidence-based teacher assessment and online exams. And several schools brought up their use of exam.net. So we've talked briefly about market trends in some of the earlier masterclass sessions. Now, this isn't a fully exhaustive list, but it does highlight topics which international schools are telling us they're addressing as part of their short and long-term improvement plans. So first up on the list, addressing the challenges of staff recruitment CPD through new and broader solutions. Embedding DEIJ into school-wide ethos and strategy, so looking at the likes of recruitment, curriculum and resources and how all of those aspects can be updated in line with those policies. Placing wellbeing at the heart of teaching and learning and addressing it across the entire school community, thinking about what impacts has the pandemic had, how can the school support life skills and build resilience in their students, but also how can they help them achieve happiness, most important to parents. It's something that now parents are inquiring about when it comes to choosing a school for their child. Centering school life around sustainability, as well as embedding it throughout the curriculum. So all of this linking into global citizenship. This is often student-led, certifications are sought, thinking about the likes of solar panels, digital textbooks, science kitchen gardens. What does the outdoor learning space look like? Maker spaces, designing technology projects are all filtering into sustainability. Developing technology competencies by all school staff so that technology can be most effectively used as a tool to support teaching and learning, and personalising learning, as well as professional administration and engagement throughout the school community is high up on this list. And finally, developing safeguarding measures for an international context that include protecting students from physical and emotional harm, as well as data protection and cybersecurity. And for many schools, this is above and beyond local regulations and cultural expectation. There are safeguarding challenges in many countries where there's no national body. Family culture comes above all else, for example, in those places. But it's something now that schools are really putting emphasis on as part of their current strategies. So we'll talk a little about future market development now, starting with groups. So many international schools exist as single entities, while others exist as part of a school group. At ISC Research, we classify an international school group as one which owns international schools that are part of a group or has a financial interest in international schools by managing them or by providing key services to them without actually owning them. A few groups may centralise purchasing decisions, so your company being listed on their books might simplify the purchasing process for schools within that group. Secondly, and perhaps most importantly, establishing a strong relationship with a school that is a member of a group is a great way to enhance your brand reputation and be recommended to other peers and schools within the group so that you can expand your network. Today, school groups are taking on much greater significance, and with their potential to develop common standards and staff development, as well as building out brand recognition, school groups do play a crucial role in raising standards and attracting enrolment demand across the entire international schools market. ISC Research currently tracks close to 600 school groups, which represent 36% of the total market right now. Some of this growth has come about through new school development, but much has occurred through the acquisition of existing schools. And this means that there are still 64% of international schools that are individual, often family or sole-owned schools, for which the segmentation approach remains relevant. Here are the top 5 groups and brands counting the highest number of international schools and their country of origin. As per the ISC Research data, also included the groups that are looking to open future schools. 58% of the future schools due to open in the next 4 years will be part of school groups, with Maple Bear Global leading the way. So this slide breaks down the growth of international schools that have opened since the 1st of July 2021, and that number is 469 schools. We've broken it down here according to premium fee, mid-market fee paying, and then all schools combined. The promise of learning in English and sitting globally recognised exams as a route to English medium higher education, which offer the greatest access to global career potential, has meant that international school education has become very appealing to many. This education movement has gained momentum as the economies of countries have improved. Today, an international school education is high on the list of priorities for many families with financial means. The result of this is that while the market still caters to the wealthiest of families, demand has also been fueled by local and expatriate families who are willing to pay the fees that they can afford. This has prompted the development of international schools at a more affordable price point compared to other international schools within their locality, opening access to international schools for many families. In order to analyse growth and differences, ISC Research splits the market into premium, mid-market, fee-paying, and then low-fee schools. And this split is based only on the fees. It makes no judgment on the standard of the school. And this also means that you can have an outstanding school that falls into the mid-market fee sector. New mid-market fee schools keep opening, representing 23% of new international schools, while premium fee-paying schools represent 22%. These schools, so 65% of these schools are based in Asia. Western Asia alone counts 103 of these new schools, which is 22% globally, followed by East and Southeast Asia, 18% globally with 86 schools, and 17% globally with 80 schools. These schools currently enrol 79,160 students around the world, and 57,750 are enrolled in international schools based in Asia. Globally, these schools have 79,160 students. Sorry, I think I'm repeating myself there with my statistics. I'm getting too stuck into statistics. So moving on, Western Asia leads the way with just over 50% of student enrolments in Asia, the vast majority of those in the UAE. Southeast Asia is next with 23% of student enrolments, most of those in Vietnam. So the international schools market is flourishing in many countries of the world. It is expected to do so if mobility persists between countries, if good education continues to be viewed as a route to growth and opportunity. Education choice is accessible for those with the financial means. If education investment within family expenditure for children between the ages of 3 and 18 is prioritised, if also international understanding and collaboration is valued, and that international schools offer more, that it is valued by parents when that is accessible to them from other school types. So these opportunities all exist, but the demand on schools continues. Just to summarise, so we work with numerous education suppliers, providing them with access to our live international schools database and reports. These resources help our clients to identify and connect with the international schools that are appropriate to their business, and it enables them to stay informed of latest trends and challenges facing the schools. The portal provides access to a searchable database, which includes data on over 13,000 international schools and contact details of more than 60,000 school staff across varying seniority levels. There's also information on over 600 school groups and details of all the associations and accreditations that are out there, including their member schools. The database offers a broad range of filters on international school locations, curricula, examinations, their groups they belong to, as well as the age ranges of students, the enrolments and the tuition fees, as well as, of course, the contact departments. So as well as these data analysis tools, the portal includes a library of regularly updated reports, a news feed, and an international events calendar, all there to support all aspects of your business development and marketing strategy. You'll also receive country summary reports. They're all included in all licenses to highlight trends and regulations that might impact your reach, enabling you to adapt those plans accordingly. So if you would like to take a look at the portal and live data at all, I'll leave a QR code on the last slide, and do feel free to get in touch if you'd like to book a call with me to take a closer look at that. I think we're right on time, so I will just give it a moment if there are any questions that have come, and just take a look. So I'm just having a look through now. So I've had a question: to what extent and how do you think the Saudization Vision 2030 requirements will impact on suppliers to Saudi international schools over the next few years? That's quite a good question, actually, probably quite a difficult one for me to answer, and probably more suited to our field team experts to answer that one. So you're anonymous on there, so I'm not sure who's asked the question, but if you can get in touch with me directly, I'd be very happy to get you an answer to that one. The next question I've had is, what is your definition of premium versus mid-market versus budget in terms of fee levels? It is purely down to the fee brackets, and our field team consultants make the decision on how we segment those schools. So that is the only factor that we look at there. And within the portals, you can filter that. We do allow clients to be able to filter between those mid-market and premium fee. Do you see schools being concerned about GDPR at all? I think they are. In what way, I guess, is the question. If you're asking that as a supplier, I could answer that for you. So if it's more on the side of, are we okay to be contacting these schools, then yes. Lots of our clients, as long as you're operating under yes, as a supplier, as a marketing agency. Okay, yes. So all of our data is all collected under legitimate business interest, essentially. So any data that's listed on there, it's not personal data. It's only email addresses of contacts within schools. So you'd be getting in touch under the basis of legitimate interest. But if you want some more information about that, there is our GDPR policy on our website, and I'd be happy to, again, have a chat with you in more detail about that. I think I've answered all of the questions that have come up now. So if there are any more questions that anyone has, then please feel free to get in touch. I'll just shift it along to the next slide, which will have my contact details on. So thanks everyone for listening. This concludes the ISC Research 2023 Masterclass series. We'll be in touch with the session recording, and if you have any questions or you'd like to explore any of our detail, any of our data in more detail, then please do connect with me. And thanks. Take care.